Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
I'm Dr. Sky, and welcome to the Dr. Sky Experience, here exclusively at Talk Radio 77 WABC, out of New York, around the nation, around the world, and more than likely, around the universe. We call it the crown jewel of radio, the iconic Talk Radio 77 WABC. As we continue to move through month number 2, February 2023, here is your Dr. Sky update, as we call it our Sky Update, episode number 17. As we move past Valentine's Day, the day of love, we begin, of course, with the moon, Earth's nearest neighbor. The moon, just in case you're curious, was at its last quarter phase on the 13th. Then it moves very close to the brilliant star in Scorpius known as Antares. Then we find out that the moon moves on to its closest position to us throughout the calendar month on the 19th at perigee. And just on the next day, we get the next in the series of moons that we call the dark of the moon or new moon. And by the way, the day after, that's the start of lunation number 1239, lunations that have been characterized and plotted on maps and star charts for celestial navigation and such since 1923. But of course, the moon's been around way longer than that. As the month ends toward February the 27th, we find out that the moon once again returns to first quarter. But there's so many things to see in our skies in late February 2023. So let's begin with planets. The Greek word planeteos, they refer to these objects as the wandering stars. And we know in our universe and solar system more precisely that the major planets of the solar system move against the starry background as they continue to move to the left throughout the zodiac path. But what can you see as we move toward the end of this month number 2? Well, there's a special treat. And if you're in a more romantic mood, we find out that since Valentine's Day is supposed to be the day of love, why not have that day every day, don't you think? Instead of one day on the calendar. But that's just philosophical. But when it comes to planets, watch the dance of these two planets. I call it sacred geometry. We find out looking low into the southwestern part of the sky, wherever you're listening to the Dr. Sky Experience, here on Talk Radio 77 WABC, the crown jewel of radio. You'll get to see the most brilliant of all the planets in the heavens, and that's Venus. Who is she? She's the goddess of love and beauty, of course. And if you look carefully, the object Venus is so bright, you don't even need a telescope. You can see this, that's for city dwellers, right in the most brightly lit cities like New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, you name it, the list goes on. But what's interesting is if you follow that planet Venus just to the upper left, right now by about maybe 15 degrees, you'll come to another brilliant object, and that is Jupiter, the god of gods. Yes, Jupiter, the mighty planet itself. So this dance, as we call it, this romantic dance of the planets, not to be overly philosophic here, or poetic, we find out that these two planets will be coming into conjunction. So simply watch them as Venus, because it's a planet closer to us than Jupiter. This planet Venus will glide past the planet Jupiter and form a most amazing conjunction in the sky. And how close will they get, and when will it happen? Toward the very end of February, the short month of this year, 28 days. If you look then, start now, but if you look then, you'll see them on the morning of March the 1st, which moves into the evening hours. In the southwest, there'll be the separation distance about that of a full moon. Now, isn't that amazing? I think so, because it's of biblical proportions. Remember, the Star of Bethlehem has many answers, and they do come from astronomy and maybe astrology, because they studied astrology back then. What I'm saying in simple terms is that this sacred geometry of both Venus and Jupiter, the two most brilliant planets that we can see in our nighttime sky, way back then, a conjunction like this was what we call sacred geometry. So don't miss it. If you have a smartphone, who doesn't? If you have a camera, more sophisticated DSLR, who knows, maybe even a good video camera, you can capture this and remember that you saw the beautiful conjunction of these two planets, an epic event. And not to be overly dramatic, this doesn't happen all often. So remember, Venus and Jupiter, the love affair continues. They conjunct in the sky. Well, what about other planets? Well, if you look nearly overhead during these mid to late February evenings, the planet Mars continues to drift away from the Earth. So right now, as you're listening to this particular Dr. Sky experience on Talk Radio 77 WABC, remember, as you're looking at that orangey red object, it's about 93 million miles away from the Earth. Now, doesn't that number resonate in most people's minds? Yes, that's the distance, approximate distance, that the Earth is from the Sun. So if we move out from the Earth, we find out that the planet Mars is that symbolic distance. What does it mean for telescopic observers? Well, the planet has shrunk in size, and this is for more sophisticated observers. But stay tuned, don't change the channel. We find out that the planet Mars has a diameter of about 10 seconds of arc. Well, it was about 17 or 18 seconds of arc back when it was closest to us as we moved into the month of December 2022. As Mars moves away from us, naturally it fades a bit in the sky. But now let's shift our gears to other objects that we can see in the sky. Saturn as a planet moved into the sun's glare right around this particular time. The date was the 16th of February, which means that the planet Saturn will once again return to the morning sky, but you'll be better to wait, as Saturn will be a magnificent object as we move toward the summer of 2023, high in our skies. Let's talk a little bit more about some of the other amazing things that happen in this particular month. Did you know during the dark of the moon, it's a really good time naturally to take a look at meteor showers. No specific meteor shower is happening here in the month of February, but sporadic meteors are occurring all over the sky. In a dark location, sit back, relax, have a warm drink, or whatever you like, an adult beverage, and just scan the skies, because patience is a virtue when it comes to meteors. But we're seeing a heavier increase, or a much larger increase, that is, of meteors, meteoroids. And how about that small 3-meter in diameter object that astronomers predicted that it would enter the Earth's atmosphere somewhere between Paris and London, and they actually gave a time. Now that's unusual, because now we have more sophisticated ways of tracking these objects. And lo and behold, if you were sitting outside watching on that morning in February, you would have seen the object. It came 1 minute earlier than predicted, but it's amazing that they could predict it at all. We end off with a brief description of Comet ZTF. Now, in my opinion, which we're full of opinions here on the Dr. Sky Experience, the media, for the most part, got this comet wrong. They called it the Green Comet. And here out in Phoenix, or wherever you're listening to this particular program, we find out that many in the media incorrectly have told us that this comet, the Green Comet, should be easy enough to see in our skies if we just look here, there, on a certain date and time. Wrong. These particular objects, as you get accurate information here on the Dr. Sky Experience, we would tell you this, and this is what we've been telling everyone. Comets, by and large, are difficult objects to see in bright city lights. Now, you may say, wait a minute, Dr. Sky, we remember looking back to Comet Hale-Bopp in 1997, and simply that comet was so bright it wouldn't go away. I had people tell me, when is that thing going to go and leave? Well, comets, because of their diffuseness, meaning they look like little fuzzy snowballs, in the sky, little balls of cotton. Their tails and everything are very subjective and selective to bright city lights. So the bottom line is you couldn't see the comet, and the media is telling people go out and take a look, so it's kind of doing a disservice to the subject of astronomy. But we'll end off on that. On the positive side, if you have a telescope, fairly good size, let's say 6-inch diameter, and you're in dark skies, this is who I appeal to who have that equipment. Take a look at the website, theskylive.com, one of our favorites. That will give you the actual information of how to track this particular object in both what we call right ascension and declination. And not to scare you away from the podcast, right ascension and declination are the heavens components of latitude and longitude. So if you see a term called right ascension, that means like longitude would be on an Earth map. The other term, declination, is like latitude on an Earth map. So The Sky Live is a great resource. We promote it all the time. You can find out how to find the object. Many people have been observing the close conjunction of both the comet ZTF and the planet Mars, the comet ZTF, and of course, looking at the star Aldebaran in Taurus. But for those of you out there that are more sophisticated, and we certainly want to see you grow into that sophistication, remember, binoculars are great. You don't necessarily have to have a large telescope to enjoy the Dr. Sky Experience. So we recommend going there to theskylive.com to help you find where these objects are in the sky and so much more. If you have an email request, it's drskyshow@gmail.com, DRSKY show@gmail.com. And don't forget, we also have our popular blog listed and embedded in this great radio station's website. And that is, go to wabcradio.com and search out for the Dr. Sky blog as you're listening to all the other interviews that we do here. Remember, Dr. Sky reminds you to always remember to keep your eyes to the skies as we talk about the great realms of astronomy, space, aviation, and weather, and so much more. And also great interviews from the subject of American exceptionalism, great American patriots, famous flyers, astronauts, and even people who believe in our Constitution and our constitutional republic. Until next time, thank you for joining us here on Talk Radio 77 WABC. Out of New York City, around the nation, around the world, and around the universe, we call it, and we mean it, the crown jewel of radio, the iconic Talk Radio 77 WABC. I'm your navigator on the highway to the heavens, encouraging you to get out there and enjoy the beauty of our beautiful nighttime skies and daytime skies as we search the skies and try to provide more information on what was behind the Chinese surveillance balloon and the other 3 mystery objects. Stay tuned.